In this episode, I will talk about the Rolling 40 Neighborhood Crips. The Rolling 40s are from the west side of South Central. The 40s started over 40 years ago and are one of South Central's well-known gangs. With being neighborhoods and being O's, they are naturally allies to hoods in those cars. But the 40s have had issues with allies like the Rolling 30s and the Rolling 60s. The 40s' main rivals are hoods like BPS, Rolling 20 Bloods, Brims, and the Hoovers, just to name a few. They even now claim the Fort Trey Hoovers turf, which they call the dark side. With that being said, let's get into some cases. Tamika and her boyfriend Anthony planned to spend the night at Baldwin Hills Motor Inn. They arrived there at midnight. As Tamika and Anthony were getting their things out the trunk of their car, Tamika turned around to see two men, one Hispanic and one black man. They pulled bangers out on Anthony and Tamika and asked Anthony, "Where you from, cuz?" Anthony responded and said, "I'm grown. I'm not from nowhere." One of the men told Anthony, "Give me all your money and give me your jewelry." Tamika gave them everything, and they snatched chains off of Anthony. Anthony asked the man, "Who are y'all to ask him where I'm from? I'm grown. This what y'all want? Y'all can have it." The Hispanic man said, "Nah, cuz. We gotta dome him." Tamika got closer and asked him not to shoot. The Hispanic man shot Anthony 5 times. One time being in the head, and that was the fatal shot. The Hispanic man told the other man, "We gotta go, cuz," and the two ran away. The banger in the shooting was later recovered when a Rolling 40 member was arrested with it. It would lead back to Gerard, who was with the Hispanic man in the shooting. Gerard denied having any knowledge of the shooting. After police showed images of the drivers and Jose, the Hispanic man who did the shooting, Gerard started to talk. Gerard said Jose was the shooter. He also said 2 other 40 members had bangers and were involved. Police lied to Gerard to make him tell the truth. They told Gerard they interviewed the 40 members he pinned to the case and that they passed a lie detector test. Gerard then started to tell the truth about what happened. He said he was there and said Jose did the shooting. Gerard and Jose were both sentenced to life. July 4th, 2004. D-Dog, a BPS member, and another person would lose their lives on August Street in BPS turf. It was blamed on the 40s. An hour later, Darlene was talking to her friend Derek in an alley near her house on 43rd Street. As Darlene turned to leave, 2 men appeared and started shooting at her and Derek. Derek and Darlene both escaped. Derek was shot in the arm, but he would survive. One of the men who was shooting dropped to the ground, and the other one ran away. The man who dropped to the floor was Little Boulay from BPS. He lost his life. A BPS man known as J-Mo later came forth with info he knew about the shooting. He told police that Little Boulay and a man named Mayhem from 20 Bloods went to 40's turf for payback for D-Dog, but the mission went sour. J-Mo stated that Mayhem told him while he was shooting, Boulay jumped in front of him, and he accidentally shot him, taking his life. Police picked up Mayhem 10 days later. He would say he was never in the 40's turf because he was at his auntie's house and he didn't even know a Boulay. Mayhem later admitted that him, Boulay, and another BPS member were all in on the shooting. He gave a whole description of what happened. He said they shot at Darlene and Derek, and he shot Boulay on accident. Mayhem was charged and sentenced to life. Brenton was from Rolling 40 Crip. In December of 2007, he went to a party with Gerard, Tamika, and Sheree. When the party ended, they went to a nearby AMPM. Gerard, Tamika, and Sheree went inside the AMPM while Brenton stayed in the car. While inside the AMPM, Sheree and Tamika got into an altercation with 2 Fruittown Brims. Gerard tried to stop the situation, and their group got back in their car and drove away. Inside the car, they told Brenton about the altercation. Brenton became angry and said, "Let's go back and get him." As Brenton turned back around and arrived at the AMPM, no one was there. He seen 2 cars across the street out of Walgreens and said, "There they go right there." Brenton pulled out his banger and then drove into the Walgreens parking lot. Everyone in the car was trying to stop Brenton from taking the situation further. Brenton told Sheree to raise her window down. He then fired shots into 1 car. He caught up to a second car and fired more shots, taking the life of a young female. Brenton was charged for the shootings, and Brenton was sentenced to life. August 31st, 2016. Darrell from 40s was driving his car on the intersection of 54th and 2nd. This was Van Ness gangster Brims' turf. He would spot a man named Keenan at the light. He would take Keenan's life. Surveillance cameras caught Darrell's license plate number, and he was later arrested. His phone was tracked to the scene. He would say it wasn't him because the car wasn't in his possession at the time. It was in another 40 members. He was still proven to be the shooter. Darrell was placed in a cell with an informant. He admitted to the informant that no one drove the car but him, and he got rid of the banger that he used in the shooting. Darrell was later sentenced to 75 years to life. This will conclude this episode. If you haven't already, check out my previous videos. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.